Good evening. Today we are joined from Nashville by Kyle Elliott. So thank you, Kyle, for joining us. And you've been on our Instagram as well.
Yeah,
And it
thank
looks
you
like
for
it's been a
having
pretty busy day for you so far.
Well, as you've probably seen, I've only been up for about 2 hours. I had a late writers round downtown Nashville last night, so I didn't get home till pretty late. And when that happens, I try to get my rest. So
So how's it feel being able to go back out and performing live again after so long having not done it?
yeah, it's a great feeling. There's nothing quite like performing in front of a live audience, and that interaction that you get. It's just not the same over a screen. But we're really happy to be back into it. And though Nashville still has some restrictions, we are getting back to some form of normalcy. And I'm so thankful, and I know the rest of the songwriting community here is thankful as well. And I hope you guys get to open up pretty soon too.
So we're starting to now be able to announce a few festivals and things. So in Nashville, kind of how many people are allowed into bars and things at the minute?
Well, pre-COVID, you'd go down to Broadway and you'd go into one of the big bars, and there would be 4 to 5 thousand people in one of these places. And I think their restriction per floor is about 50 people. So it's a huge reduction of how many people were going into there versus how many people are now. Basically, as many seats as they have in the venue is how many people they can allow in. So people can't just be standing around. Some of the places will kick you out if you stand up and dance. So it feels a little bit like the movie Footloose, but we're making it.
So were you kind of quite nervous when you first went back to performing live in front of people with everything going on?
Oh goodness, no! I was so ready. I went up to people afterward, respective distances, and just thanked them for being there because it had been such a long time, and I missed it more than anything.
So having had new music released kind of throughout the last year, how nice was it to finally get to play that music to people for the first time face to face?
Oh goodness. Well, about 2 weeks before we went into the COVID lockdown thing, I released a song. So I was in a pretty good place where I didn't have to, do too much of one or the other as far as going to pushing everything online or pushing everything in person. I'd finished doing a release, so going back into the kind of world of trying to put out a new song it gave me a little bit of time to prepare for that virtually. But when I was finally able to go out and do it, people, there's just a different emotion about playing in person. So when they hear the emotion coming through on stage versus over the screen, I think it's just a little bit more real, and captures people in the essence of that song. So it's definitely a different atmosphere and a different feeling, and I'm just glad to be back in it.
Now you have your new track, Empty, coming out tomorrow. What's kind of the early kind of feelers been then about this track? Now you can actually get out and play it.
Well, I've sent it to several of my friends in the radio industry, my radio promoter and things, and all I've gotten back is fantastic feedback, which I'm so excited about. My producer and I worked incredibly hard on this one, really paid attention to the details of this song, and I think it's paying off already. As far as I'm aware, we are over 500 pre-saves, and that's here in the US, so that's a huge boost. The more we get there, obviously, the better chances we have of getting it playlisted, and then possibly onto the radio, which typically you would have to pay for. So if that's the case, that would be a huge boost. But so far everybody's excited. I actually have a VIP fan club that I've already released it to, and they say it's their their new favorite song, and they've had it on repeat since I shared it with them yesterday.
So how refreshing though is it to now have new music out again?
Oh, well, this song and many of the songs that I've released here in the recent past, I've been holding on to them for years, at this point, and just finally able to get them out for everybody else to hear at the level that I've been hearing them for months or years at this point, is great. They've been just kind of weighing on me at this point, and I'm ready to show people some of the new stuff that I've been working on because it's been a long time. So I'm glad to get it out and move on kind of to the next chapter of my career as an artist.
So the track is called Empty. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of the story behind the song then?
Absolutely. So the previous song that I released is called "Come On Over," and that song kind of plays right into the intro of "Empty." As far as its relationship, it doesn't have to necessarily have to be a love relationship, but a relationship between two people that has gone bad or has fallen by the wayside, and they try to or one person at least tries to save the relationship. And as most people know, when you go through a separation, whether it's friends or a significant other, it's really hard to recapture that essence of goodness that comes from that relationship. And so empty is kind of the realization that is gone, and that it's not coming back. And a lot of people do rely heavily on alcohol during depressing times, which is actually a really bad thing to do considering it's a depressant itself. But the emotion is just so real and so raw that I think that most people have been in a place where they have felt literally empty on the inside. And it's a metaphor as far as, the bottle will be empty, but at the same time, you're feeling empty during that type of situation. So a lot of deep thought went into this song, and I hope people can realize that when they hear it.
So you spoke earlier on your Instagram takeover for us about using TikTok.
Yes.
I have no clue with it. I'm a school teacher by trade, and the kids in my class know more about me more than I do on it. So how have you found kind of engaging with fans over the last year?
It's been, it's actually been really good in certain ways, especially with my international fans, because obviously, even if I were to be doing shows in person, they can't be here. So it's been a great way to connect with people that I would not have been able to connect to. And as much as I would love to come over there, which was the plan this past year, that's been pushed back. But that has at least given me the opportunity to meet and interact with them. But some of the people that are on there, I know how bad they want to be at one of the live shows, and a few of them have actually been able to come to them. But having the opportunity at least is, has something that's saved me because I would go crazy if I didn't have the opportunity to share my music with others. So having to do it online has been a bit tough, but a saving grace at the same time. But TikTok is a whole nother beast. I'm getting on the upper scale of the age-wise when it comes to like the social media realm. So, and I even have a film degree, and I still struggle with this stuff. So, trying to keep up with the times as these new social media apps are coming out.
But you're obviously finding that fans are engaging with it, and it definitely works, because you also use Patreon, don't you?
Do what now? I'm sorry.
You use Patreon as well, don't you?
Yes, that's where my VIP fan club is on Patreon, and I love that. I think it's kind of a cleaner version of Facebook, where people can actually interact directly to the creator instead of having to cut through all the other stuff that's on there. But TikTok is such a game changer, and I still haven't even gotten really into that as much as I probably should have. But I know some other songwriters that have been #1, not even in country, but on just the iTunes charts, because a song of theirs was discovered on TikTok and shared a million times. So it's something that you really can't compete with, because it happens just so fast. And in today's world, I mean, things are moving quickly, so you have to keep up with it.
Okay, I know you're going to play your new song Empty for us at the end of the broadcast. So what song would you like to play first for us tonight?
Well, since I said it plays right into it, I'll play my latest release, which is the Come On Over song, which plays right into that Empty song. So I'll try to do a nice back-to-back here. Just another Friday night in a small town. Home seems away, headed westbound. There ain't nothing to do but just hang around. You can't turn back the hands on the clock. You wanna rewind, you wanna make it stop, but don't miss your chance. You better take your shot. So come on over, so we can do what we do. Got a bottle of wine and a candlelight, girl, I'm sitting there. Bet you look as pretty as you always do when you walk in the room. You got me acting like a fool, so don't wait no longer. Just come on over. Just come on over. But I headed into town on my own Ford. Gotta pass right by your front door. Girl, I can't do it no more. A little hooked on you, yeah, sure was. Baby girl giving me the kind of buzz you love to feel. It was something real, so great. So come on over, so we can do what we do. Got a bottle of wine and candlelight, girl, I'm sitting alone. Bitch, you look as pretty as you always do when you walk in the room. Got me acting like a fool, so don't wait no longer. Just come on over. Just come on over. So come on over, like you used to. Little bottle of wine's and the candles burned out too. There ain't no doubt in my mind, you're just as beautiful as the last time that I saw you. Same old me, same old fool. Just trying to get you to come on over. Just come on over. So come on over, so we can do what we do. Got a bottle of wine and a candlelight, girl, I was setting you. I bet you look as pretty as you always do when you walk in the room. Got me acting like a fool, so don't wait no longer. Yeah, I say don't wait no longer. And just come on over. Just come on over. Yeah.
Okay, so that was Come On Over, which you released, is it around August time last year?
Yep, that was last August.
So what was it like kind of, releasing in the summer, which was kind of peak pandemic time, really?
Yeah, I'd had this game plan for over a year to release these songs in kind of this format where I would do one and then several months later I would release another. And so I didn't want to change that plan. I didn't want to put everything on hold because my fans had been anticipating it so much anyway. And I'm ready to get these songs out too. But to do it again virtually I think it kind of opened my mind a little bit because here in Nashville, everybody's so focused on the live shows and, getting those big industry people to show up. And at the end of the day, that is important, but the people that are watching and really, soaking it in, the people that are your fans are what's most important. And again, that goes back to saying that not everybody would be able to be here, even if I did do like a release show here in Nashville. So I've actually decided to do both this time around. So I'm having my virtual release show tonight, and then I'm doing an in-person show tomorrow night. So I'm making the best of both worlds here. Now,
you grew up in Nashville, is that correct?
I did, yes.
So was there any chance you were never going to be into country music?
I tell people this because it's kind of funny. Nashville has changed a lot over the last decade or so. And back when I was a kid, Nashville was definitely not the it city. It was very small, very run down even in a lot of ways, and didn't really change until about 2008, 2010, somewhere in that ballpark. But growing up here and being, the teenage years when country music was really coming into its fame in the way that it is today is, teenagers rebel against the popular things, right? They want to do what everybody else is not doing. And so as much as I've always loved country and being around it, I mean, it was always on the cassettes that my parents had or on the radio all the time. But I grew up listening to all kinds of music. I mean, my mother loved the 70s. My dad was a big 80s hair band kind of guy. And my sister listened to NSYNC and Backstreet Boys nonstop. So I grew up with literally every decade of music, and just country was always intertwined in there. But I knew I always loved it. But in high school, I was more towards like the alternative rock style. I actually joined an alternative rock band for about 5 years before I decided to do country music. And it actually gave me a lot of perspective about the industry and about songwriting and being a performer. So I'm actually really glad that I went through that to get to where I am now. I just wish maybe I was born about 20 years earlier, so I could have been at the forefront of that movement to get in on the country music kind of ground floor that it's become today.
So do you remember kind of any of your early influences from that kind of 90s country music sound?
Yeah, there's one specific cassette tape that my dad literally would play over and over and over again. And the song's called Old Enough to Know Better, which is a song kind of about this guy who goes out and parties too much, and he's actually doesn't have a lot of money, but he works so hard, and he wakes up the next morning and he's still got to go to work. That's a song by Mr. Wade Hayes, who's actually still outperforming today, but has taken a step back in the industry. But one of those songs that has always just stuck with me, and kind of plays into how much that I really love what I do and how much I love country music.
So looking back to some of your past releases, Sunrise was added to Apple's Hot Country playlist.
Yes.
This is still fairly early on in your career. So kind of how much of a boost is this for you?
That was a very interesting time in my career. I was looking at making some moves, and I changed producers. That was the first song that I did with my new producer. And it was great. I felt like I jumped, levels, at one time. And I was really excited about that song, but I teamed up with a distribution company because one of my best friends from college was their kind of manager in the Nashville office. And so I had this back door, which is a lot of times how you make it in the music industry is by knowing somebody. And we got our foot in the door with them, and then Apple Music correlates with their distribution company a lot. Unfortunately, that company, since COVID, has kind of taken a huge downturn. And I had a lot of trouble with them, actually. They actually still have Sunrise and Love Hangover under contract. So I'm not able to remove them from that distribution company. But, it was a learning experience because it kind of showed me that anything can happen in the industry that can really change what happens to your music and what happens to your game plan. But being on Apple's Hot Country playlist was huge. I mean, we got 50,000 streams in like 1 week, which is crazy for a small artist like I was at the time. And I mean, even still, it's taken me months sometimes to get to that with some of these other releases, just by not having somebody there in place to help me out.
And then with Never Break, it's now kind of into over the 100,000 mark for streams. As an unsigned artist, how do you go about getting these kind of figures?
Well, I think that was a pretty special song in the way that it was Stephanie Nash, who's the other artist that's in that song. That was her first release, and that was my first time doing a duet, which releasing a song by yourself versus releasing a song with somebody else just doubles the amount of exposure that you get. Stephanie's had some great success since then as well, which has only helped boost that. And I've had people come to my shows that I've never met before, and they're like, "Hey, play your song Never Break." And I was like, "How do you know this song?" And apparently it's been added to playlists across the world. So we're super thankful for that. But it's, at the end of the day, I think it's a lot of luck. Yes, we work very, very hard to spread the word. And that was a really successful time for both of us. But I think a lot of it comes down to just having a good song and a little bit of luck that goes along with that to make sure that the right people hear it.
Now, you had some coverage this side of the Atlantic at the end of last year with the charity single, I Won't Forget to Miss You. What was it like working at such a distance on a song?
Well, I tell you what, that was an incredible piece of work that they put together. I know that, when I came into it, I was like, boy, this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out, because typically, when you go into a shared project, everybody can come together and talk about it, or at least feel the vibe that we're going for. But they split the song up so much, and I've never met, face to face anyway, other than a video chat, most of these people. So to know what they were kind of going for, I was kind of shooting in the dark, and I can't believe how well it turned out. But some unbelievably talented people over there on the European side, and I know there were one or two of us Americans on there as well. But a great project that I think just was the perfect type of song that people were looking for at that time. And we all did it for a great cause too. So a really fun project to be a part of, and everybody on there was just so great to work with. Looking back at it, I would love to do something like that again with more European artists.
Now, obviously, giving yourself kind of such coverage over this side of the Atlantic, was it always an aim of yours to make such an early statement over here?
Not at all. It actually fell into my lap as this just bizarre idea. Now, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I have two other businesses that I own as well. So I'm always looking for a way to get ahead of the game and find the new thing before the new thing becomes found. And I was at a small writers round here in Nashville, and a gentleman by the name of Danny McMahon was playing at the same writers round, which I'm sure you're familiar with him. And his manager at the time, Rachel Selleck, happened to be sitting in the audience, and there was an open chair next to her, and I just happened to sit down right next to her, and we struck up a conversation, and she told me about Danny and that he was from, where he's from and how what they were trying to do over in the US. And it clicked in my mind that, being from Nashville, this place is so saturated with the country music artists trying to make it. I mean, you could, if you walk down Broadway, you see it. There's 2,000 people playing on any given day downtown. And I thought, country music in the UK is only now becoming a big thing. And, typically Europeans can't make a country accent, even if they try. So to have the natural accent, I think it's a great opportunity to find a niche in the industry that is really untapped. And so I told Rachel, I said, I want to make a name for myself over in the UK, because fans are fans no matter where they're from. And Europe is just such a beautiful place that I've never been, and I thought, what an awesome experience it would be to share my music with people around the world and to go see these places around the world too. So that was kind of the plan from that point forward, and we did really well. Come on over, charted, I think it was number 21 on the iTunes charts in the UK. So it was a huge experience, considering I've never stepped foot over there. So a really big boost of confidence for me there, and I really do hope that I get to come over there very soon.
Now, you obviously spoke about having other career interests. How do you juggle time to fit everything in?
I don't. It's kind of just a big mess most of the time. I have a lot of things going on right now, and it's just trying to stay humble and enjoying everything that I do. I've been doing renovations on my house for the last year. I started the two businesses that I own. I started both of them in the last 12 months. So trying to do all of that in the midst of a pandemic has just been kind of a whirlwind. But I told myself back in 2017, when I left my day job, that I would never go back to a 9 to 5 that I hated. And I hope I don't ever have to go back to a 9 to 5, because, as you know, my sleep schedule is really off. So to go back into a real world job like that would be pretty difficult. But no, I love the creative process. I love being in control of what I do for work. And there's not a day that goes by that I'm not thankful that I have the opportunity to do this, because there's so many of my friends, even in the songwriting world, that are still working a 9 to 5 job, and everything that I do, I enjoy doing. I've found that life's too short to do things that you don't enjoy doing. And I've been very, very blessed to be able to do those things and actually make a living doing them. But balancing that time is very hard. There's days where I sometimes don't eat because I just forget to in the midst of everything else that's going on.
So with the new single Empty coming out tomorrow, have you opted to set yourself any aims for the year yet?
Well, the main goal for this, coming out of the promotions that we're doing, is to get playlisted. I've always had a goal to be on Spotify's New Boots playlist. Ever since that thing came out, I was like, I have to get a song on there. So I'm really hoping with the push that we've done thus far that we can get on that playlist, because I think there's hundreds of thousands of followers on that playlist. I mean, that is a chance of a lifetime to be on something like that. That kind of sets up new careers for upcoming artists. I'm hoping that by the time that we get to the end of this year, I'm hoping this song will be over 100,000 streams. I think that's very doable. It's just going to take a community of people that are showing support. And I said this in a video that I did the other day. It's really hard, because when you work a craft or when you work a job, you can literally give it 110%. And that's what I do when I write. That's what I do when I play my shows. But when it comes to the digital world of music, I can only do so much. At the end of the day, it is up to the rest of the world to accept me as an artist and to listen to my music. So it's a really hard thing for me to grasp, because I am such a hard worker. I am so driven, by the hard work. But to rely on other people is difficult. And I'm not somebody that likes to ask for a lot of favors. But I'm pretty sure my friends and family are tired of hearing me say, please share this. But that's what you have to do in the industry to find recognition, especially from an independent and grassroots movement.
Are there any kind of other independent artists that you look up to at the minute, then you kind of see the route that they've taken?
Definitely. There's some that have been signed since I found them. One of them is Mr. Dylan Carmichael. He's with Broken Bow Records now, but he is. I love the way his voice is, and he's such an entertainer. I mean, he's this big burly guy, but he can play the guitar so well, and he's got this long curly hair, and he just is so exciting. But he has such a loyal fan base, and you don't have to have 100,000 fans to be successful. You really just need about 100 to 1,000 fans that are just dedicated to what you do and love what you do. And I tell people I don't have to sell out arenas. I don't have to be the next Ed Sheeran of the world. But if I can make a living off of doing something like this, that would be what I would do. So Dylan Carmichael is one of them. I'm a big fan of Josh Ward. He's a big Texas country guy who actually is still very much undiscovered, and I have his music on repeat all the time. It's just so fantastic. And one that has also been recently signed is another Texas country artist by the name of Cody Johnson. I'm sure you're familiar with him by now. He was independent for over 10 years and actually sold out a 70,000 seat arena without being signed to a label. So if he can do it, anybody can do it. And he's just a great inspiration to look up to. Great
to hear. So before we finish, you're going to play us out with the track Empty. And Empty is out at midnight tonight. So we're looking forward to...
It might actually be out sooner for y'all's because I think it's midnight Eastern time. So like on the East Coast of the US. So I don't think we're very far from that where you are. So hopefully if you guys find it before it comes out, please share it, tag me. And I hope you guys enjoy it because it's been something that I've been putting a lot of work into for many, many years at this point. But I'm really appreciative that you guys have me on doing this. But yeah, let's go ahead and play it. This is the new one, Empty. It comes out today. I'm gonna drink till the bottle's empty, or I get over you. 'Cause right now I'm just too sober to handle the truth. So I order me another round, lift it up and shoot it down. Every drop of that heartbreak killer, wishing you would come back around, but I stay drunk. So Jim runs out of bourbon, and Jack stops making whiskey, until Callie runs out of the sweet red wine that was keeping me a little tipsy. 'Cause it ain't gonna hit me that you really let me know until the bottle's empty. Bottle's empty. But I'm searching for answers at the bottom of my glass. 'Cause every time you fill it up, I expect it to hurt a little less. No, but it don't, like pouring rain. Can't nothing kill the pain. Another night, another drink. Girl, it's all the same. I stay drunk. So Jim runs out of bourbon, and Jack stops making whiskey, until Callie runs out of the sweet red wine that was keeping me a little tipsy. 'Cause it ain't gonna hit me that you really let me know. Oh, it ain't gonna hit me that you really let me till the bottle's empty. Bottle's empty. But I don't want to sober up, 'cause I can't face the truth. And the thought in my mind is that it's over for you too. So I stay drunk. Jim runs out of bourbon, and Jack stops making whiskey, until Callie runs out of the sweet red wine that was keeping me a little tipsy. 'Cause it ain't gonna hit me that you really let me know. Oh, it ain't gonna hit me that you really let me till the bottle's empty. Till the bottle's empty.
Thank you so much, Kyle. And that was Empty, the new single. Make sure, obviously, for those watching, where is it there? Down below. So make sure you head over to Kyle's socials. Definitely check out his TikTok. He's all over it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, guys, if you head to my Instagram right there, you will find the link to pre-save for the next couple of hours, which I cannot stress enough is so important. Pre-saves count for like 100 streams. So let's make that happen and see if we can get even more people to do that. But thank you so much for having me on here. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. And we'll listen to the new song when it comes out.
No, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Kyle, and good luck with the single.
Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.